Right evening and welcome to Volta Premier 98.1 FM. It's another beautiful Thursday and it is the focal point with Edinam Nkunu. Yes, today we are going to dive into certain issues that have been making rounds in the past week. And well, it's crazy out there, right? Everyone is talking about Russia and Ukraine and Russia and Ukraine. And we'll dive into that in a bit. But it's important that I wish my executive producer, Kelly, yes, a very big happy birthday. Yes. Godwin Kelly Kumado is a year older today. Now, of course, if you are getting old, you should be afraid. Well, every time you celebrate your birthday, you know you are getting closer somewhere. Me, I talk already. Well, that is that. He's been great. He's been instrumental. He's an amazing person if you know him. Yes. I wish him long life, prosperity. The entire team of the Focal Point and VPFM wish him long life and prosperity. Kelly, it's the year 2022. 2021, you were single. 2022, you must get married. Yes, you must get married. I mean, why? Every day you are buying kinky by the roadside. Aren't you ashamed? Oh, come on. You are growing. Yes. Back to what I was talking about earlier. So there is the Russia-Ukraine crisis, and today the focal point is focusing on that. We need to look at what it is, what it means, you know, where it started from, and where it is going, and what it means for us as Africans. So today we are looking at Russia-Ukraine crisis, the cause and effects. To help me do that is Lumo Mensah, PhD. He is an anthropologist. Well, I've just been corrected. I see everybody who studies those things as anthropologists. Not the study of how humans started working. When I say anthropologist, that's not what I mean. But anyway, there's an anthropologist in the studio. I'll mention his name later. So, yes, Dr. Lumo Mensah, he's an international relations specialist. He specializes in African politics and African studies in general. There is Divine Yao Amo. Yes, he's now pushing for his PhD. He's almost there. Yes, he's almost there. I can see him at the finish line. He's almost there. Finish hard. Yes, he's specializing in African history and politics. Then there is, you know this man, right? Yes, when we're doing the SDGs. Yes, he was here. Yeah, Dr. Abna Dakun. Well, did I just say that? Yes, he's also an Ekwama, and he's a Butcher boy. Yes, it means he went in Fantipim. You know that school in the bush somewhere near Cape Coast. Yes, he attended that school. Yes, yes. Dr. Kwama is a cultural anthropologist who specializes in African studies and African history in general. So they are going to help us look into the matter of the Russian-Ukraine crisis, the origin, and what it means for us as a people, or the people of Africa. Now, I don't know whether I am happy about it or I'm not happy about it. You know, there's this Schadenfreude in me, some way, somehow. Let me explain. You see, Russia is not selling oil anymore. The world needs oil. Ghana has oil. So maybe on that note, I'm a little bit excited because oil prices are going up. Not fuel prices, by the way. Oil prices are going up, and Ghana is going to, rake in some profits. So, yes, Ghana, Nigeria, and the oil-rich African countries are going to benefit from that immensely. Maybe that's where I am a little bit excited. But we would see. I am not happy that people are dying. I mean, come on. I am not a sociopath, so I'm not happy about that. But the benefits that comes to Africa, well, I am not sure I should be crying that Africa is going to benefit from something. But let's just dive right into it. Yes. Gentlemen, welcome to the studio.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Yes.
It is quite some time I came into the studio.
Yes.
I like the way you mentioned
Which he makes it look like Charlie. Some Harvard in Ghana.
Oh no. Boche.
Yeah, Harvard in Ghana.
Oh, true. Boche. Oh, how?
That's okay.
No, 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 no.
It looks like please come to
No, 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 no. If you didn't attend GSTS, you need to go back to school. Yes.
Okay, so thank you for having us. I'm sure we're going to have a lovely time educating ourselves and learning from you as well.
Yes.
So we are looking forward.
Yeah, very welcome. I am here to learn from you.
I want to say, listeners out there, thank you for having time for us. We hope you text in to ask more questions and to educate us where we go wrong. I normally say we are not Wikipedia, but we're trying to be. So we should all look out for ourselves. Listeners, thank you for having us.
Yep. So there are a few facts out there. They say that this whole Russia-Ukraine thing started some time back, and I don't know where it started. I don't know how it started. I have a few questions though, and I have some facts at my fingertips. But so that I do not mislead the listeners, yes, I'll start with Dr. Lumo. Dr. Lumo, the Russia-Ukraine crisis, when did it start? Or how did it start?
Wow, I think this is a very packed question.
Yes.
And it has a lot of angles to it. So if you want to look at it from historical perspective, we may trace it far back even to the end of the Second World War.
Okay.
But I think we should redirect our focus to the current causes or the immediate factors that has accounted for the situation that is currently happening in Ukraine.
Okay.
We can look at it from, let's say, around 2014, when Russia has started some activities around that region, trying to protect its security interests, and also subsequent to that, we realize that Ukraine has been making some efforts to join the European Union, a union that is made up of European states, some European states, not all of them though. And the calculation of Russia as far as this decision of Ukraine to join the European Union is concerned, Russia has considered this action a potential threat to its national security interest.
Why would that be? You see, I'm asking because I know that when the AU was formed, Haiti wanted to be a member of the AU.
Yes.
Yes, we denied Haiti. Africa denied Haiti. I don't see why that should have been the case, though. But we granted Israel an observer status. Israel is not on the African continent. But isn't Haiti free to join the AU? Isn't Ukraine free to join the EU if they feel that they should? Why should another country be threatened?
Well, it's not so simple like that. You know, even though Ukraine is an independent state, we can grant that. But the history of all this must also be taken into consideration. The Ukraine as a country that we have today came as a result of the dissolution of the Soviet Union just in 1991, thereabout. So we should not just look at Ukraine as what it is today, but look at it from this historical perspective. Before 1991, Ukraine was part of what we call the Soviet Union, okay, and which includes Russia as the main, country within that bloc, and Ukraine being the second biggest country within the Soviet Union. And so when the Soviet Union collapsed following the end of the Cold War, there is this general understanding and consensus that despite the fact that they have separated and gone their own ways, they are still within a certain sphere. And so for which reason, whatever happens to Ukraine must be of concern to Russia. And so if Ukraine goes ahead and is granted membership of the European Union, it is not just as simple as that. It has serious security complications and implications for Russia. What does that mean? You see, Ukraine is located at a place that is very close to the capital of Russia, Moscow. It's very close to Russia. In fact, they're sharing boundaries. And so if Ukraine goes ahead to join the European Union and subsequently join NATO, which is a military, group, mainly comprised, by what you call it, the European countries. If that goes through, if that happens, then it means that the European bloc, especially using the tools of NATO, can pitch their weapons and, you know, arsenals right at the door of Russia. And that in international relations has serious implications, because there is something, all countries fight for their interests, and primary among those interests is security interest. And if NATO is allowed to pitch their military weapons right at the door of Russia, I mean, Russia is not safe. Anything at all can happen to Russia. And historically also, we have seen that Europe as a whole has tried on so many occasions to invade Russia. In a time of Napoleon Bonaparte, they have tried to invade Russia. Even during the time of Adolf Hitler, they have tried to invade Russia. So historically, they have tried on so many occasions to invade Russia. And if Russia allows them to come so close, I mean, they can just take out Moscow in a matter of 15, 20 minutes. So it is in their interest to ensure that their national security, national territorial security, and all those things are protected. And that is why they will do everything possible to prevent Ukraine from joining the European Union and also joining NATO. That is, yes.
I do understand the whole Russia needs to protect their territorial integrity and things like that. But Ukraine is an independent state. We need to understand that. Ukraine can choose to join whichever bloc they want to join, whether the EU or whatever. Ukraine can have diplomatic relations with whatever country they want. So why is Russia cringing? Why is Russia throwing their hands in the air and they start, crying like?
I think that you're oversimplifying the whole issue. You're making it very simple. For diplomatic, as he's saying, a lot of undertones. For instance, let's do a little bit of historical discourses here. You realize that when America wanted to build, when Russia wanted to build a military base in Cuba, it became what they call the Cuban crisis.
That was 1962.
Yes, 62. Yes, it became what they call
the Cuban Missile Crisis. Kennedy was the president then.
Yes. Then again, you realize that we've gotten a bad big brother who thinks that he can just bully everybody. Was Libya not a sovereign, independent country when America attacked? Do you understand that? So this diplomacy of we trying to be nice to other people and be rough to other people will not.
So you just brought in America. And you see, Dr. Luma mentioned NATO, and you just brought in America. Now, is America involved in this, all of this?
Okay. NATO is being ruled by America indirectly. You understand that?
Okay.
So with America involved in NATO and NATO getting close to Russia, that becomes a very big problem. So check that. NATO is ruled by America. Russia wants NATO wants to get close to Russia. For what reason? He will protect his interest. Because he knows for historical purposes, he has always been under attack from the other side of the European countries. They see them to be a little bit boxy. They see them not to be much of their stock. So they want to always attack them. And luckily for them, Russia speaks another language that the other European countries don't really understand. It's much denser than the other European countries. So they will want to infiltrate it to them. So it's not as easy as you see it.
I see. Mr. Amu, you see, this whole thing, I believe, okay, that's my opinion anyway. I believe that Russia is an independent country now after the collapse of the Soviet Union, and Ukraine is an independent country. Now we are hearing that America is in there some way, somehow. What caused the Libyan, not to divert, but what caused the Libyan invasion? Because Dr. Kwamwa mentioned that. What caused the Libyan invasion? Why did America invade Libya?
My initial comment will be that I do for peace in the world, and as such, I pray for peace in Ukraine and Russia, and to a large extent, Europe and the world. However, we need to set the record straight and look at the historical facts that will serve as antecedent to the conflict as we are witnessing today. I will be coming to the Libya issue. I have to situation in a historical construct that will help us to understand the issue better. I realize that you want to look at the whole situation from a simplistic point of view.
Isn't it
And
simple?
so it is not as such.
I know Dr. Kama disagrees, but
I completely disagree with you. I agree with him. It cannot be. And of course, the position of Dr. Lumo is the same. It's not as simple as you may look at it. But let's look at the real historical antecedent to the whole issue, and perhaps we'll be educating ourselves better. Now, the issue of Russia and that of NATO, I'll be using NATO more than America, in a sense that that is where the whole bite of the fiber is. The whole issue is about economic ideology as well as governance ideology in the world. If we understand it from that perspective, then we can get this thing clearly. It started with the issue of the Russian Revolution in 1917. By 1922, we realized that the Bolshevik, that's led by Lenin, they introduced the first form of the Marxism and Leninism in terms of economic governance of states. So we witnessed the first form of communism, or the extreme form of socialism, as a way of controlling the affairs of a nation. As a result of that, United States, as of that time, of course, I have a difficulty with the kind of democracy they preach, because again, by that 1920s, women were not allowed to vote in America. We are not going into that, but America, as a beacon of world democracy, kept eagle eye on the Bolshevik, or Russia, so to speak. But this was under the shade. Then we saw the power of the Europeans, especially the Commonwealth of Nations, the British, and so the two nations would not be seen as great powers at the time. However, the opportunity came for them to expose their strength as a result of the moribund economies of the Europeans at the end of the Second World War. At the end of the Second World War, we realized that every economy in Europe came to a standstill, and that America and Russia became the greatest powers of the world. You must understand that in the course of the Second World War, American, the British, and the Russians came together as one force. And coincidentally, at Yalta, Crimea, which is today one of the theaters of the conflict, this very place in 1945, they signed the agreement which we refer to in history as a marriage of convenience, because it's not bounded by any political value. It was just to fight a common enemy of Hitler's Germany. And immediately after the end of the war, or when they remove special positions or individual positions, this will be the cause of the whole problem as we are witnessing today. And it began what the center, the fiber of the issues.